anytime you change up how people are used to receiving information, it works for them and they feel special.
Yes.
And part of the onboarding process is to make sure they know they are special, because every client should be special.
Thank you for joining us again at the Trustedpreneur Podcast. And today I have a very spicy topic that I personally, I get so upset when I see it, okay, which is onboarding. And let me just tell you that, just for starters, your onboarding strategy, it is your strategy, by the way. It's your retention, just so you know. So today I am going to have David talk us through and give you some experiences that I've had personally. And let me tell you something, every time I think about it, it makes me so outraged to just all these people that are charging a ton of money and the onboarding process sucks. So how are you, David?
I'm good, Madeline.
So we're going to talk about onboarding being our, the strategy of retention. And so I know that we have had some really bad experiences in onboarding. Most recently, we hire a performance coach, and I was just appalled of the amount of money that we were paying, and the onboarding process was just crappy. It was a bad experience. It was just chaotic. It felt chaotic. And I finally had to say something as much. And, the funny thing about that was that he was so capable, right? Amazing skills, and skills that I know that work. But because the experience on the onboarding was such that it did not meet my standards, it really kept me up at night. Literally up at night. And it was like I was having this discussion in my head. I couldn't sleep very well. And I just wanted to formulate my thoughts and how I was going to get rid of it, because I just didn't. And luckily I found the courage when he opened the door, and thus I did. So talk to us from a strategy perspective. What's the power of onboarding?
Well, great intro, and great question. So onboarding, as you know, in my belief, is everything, and it never stops. That's the first mistake people make, is most business owners think onboarding is when the first time that client comes into their store, their business, online, their first experience, right? And it is so much more. And I think the second mistake that people make, and business owners make on onboarding, is they haven't defined it at all, right? So one, they try to do something up front, and they don't really know what they're trying to get. And so you have to establish, what is my onboarding experience supposed to achieve? Right? One, it should achieve an explanation of what that person is bought or going to embark on, what the experience is going to be like, giving them some action items to participate in the process so they feel engaged, give them an area where they can ask questions so they feel like they're being heard. And this all drives to the end goal of that now you have a customer that is knowledgeable about what they did, what they bought, what they're about to do, what they need to do, and where they're going to go from there.
So basically what you're describing is the customer journey.
Yes.
Because what they're doing is, when you have a bad onboarding experience, I'm thinking you're leaving the door open, the back door open.
That's right.
Right? For them to just walk in and walk right back out. And that is why I said the retention strategy.
Absolutely. Because what most people don't understand, and I love that you said it that way, because what happens is that first experience is all they remember.
Yeah.
And so it actually impacts two things. One, retention, but two, referrals.
Yes.
And repeat sales, right? So, people don't think about this, but if you're a retail company, the onboarding experience it's smaller, it's more defined, but it's all about that experience when they're purchasing the product.
Okay, walk me through that one.
So even in retail, like say you're going to go buy a dress, right? So now you've bought the dress, okay? And it's going to be defined a little differently, right? But the follow-up phone call, the letter or the email saying thank you for the purchase, giving them, some tips, right? Onboarding isn't one size fits all. You have to think about what type of transaction you're doing and where you're going to take it. Another example would be if your first experience, somebody says, yes, I want to do business with you, and I agree with that. And then if I give them this long list of questions, right? And it seems like it's too many questions and it's a lot of work. Good experience, bad experience. It's not that it's not necessary. It's how you deliver it. Could you have made that in smaller bite-sized pieces so they didn't feel overwhelmed, right? I made this mistake. My first onboarding questionnaire for trustedpreneurs was massive. And now
you do everything massive, David.
Yes, I do. And that's usually a good thing. But in this case, it was not. But my point being is I had all these questions and all that information was necessary.
Yeah.
But what I learned is that I just need to get that first experience to be really positive and a win. I need them to feel good. That they understand I've got this. They knew I had it, but I made them do work. And it's okay to have them do some work, but they have to feel good when they're doing it, because that's what, well, yeah, that was great. He's great. But, boy, man, just getting to the first call was like a week, just filling out papers. It shouldn't be that way. It needs to be quick. It needs to be smooth. It needs to have purpose, and it needs to be a part of a longer term process. Right. And so when you say, and we say onboarding is your retention strategy, I'm thinking about a person we met with recently, and I asked simply that question. Well, what happens when one of your clients comes to you? Well, I just kind of go and I just kind of do what I have to do. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to help you because now they don't know what to expect. Right. So to me, those are a couple of the key things that people make a mistake on, right? Is that they don't know. And now one of the other things I will tell, so what's a good onboarding experience, right? Having a purpose, having a plan. I love changing out the type of medium I'm working with. So one of the things I do when I have a person that's just setting, now this is interesting because I believe onboarding starts in the sales process.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So one of the first things I do when they schedule a call with us, right, is I send a personal video thanking them for scheduling, telling them what's, going to happen, telling them, these are some, I kind of drill down in a very quick video text message, right? Not just audio, video. I want them to see me. I want them to understand who I am, because most of our clients come in off of a lead magnet generated, or they went to our website, or somebody referred us,
them,
and they may not know us. Right. So I want them to experience us. I want them to know how appreciative we are. Right. And I want to give them a verbal way of saying, here's what's going to happen. Then I may switch it up and I may do an email, right? Or I may set the stage that I'm going to send you, which is what I usually do. I'm going to send you a link, and it's going to be a quick questionnaire, And all you need to do is fill out these 6-7 questions. So I'm already abbreviating it down. And if you don't know the answers, it's okay.
Right. So you're setting the stage for them to understand what's about to transpire.
Right.
And I think that's so important, because often what we do is the lead comes in, 24 hours go by, nobody cares, right? So the distrust start right there. When people don't get contacted back,
right,
it's already a recipe for, I don't know, I don't know about these people, right?
Well, exactly. And I think that's one of the things where, depending on how you have your system set up, right? Mm-hmm. So a lead comes in, they should be immediately getting a communication.
But what if it happens at midnight?
They still can have an immediate communication.
Well, what kind of a communication would that be?
So they could have a text message if it came via, so if they're doing an intake form on to deliver your lead, if they give you a mobile number, then you probably want to have a text message go out to them. Mm-hmm. If they give you an email, you want an email going out. And it's simply that. Thank you for your interest. We will be in touch with you, give a range, because, even if it comes in at midnight, you can say, we're going to follow up with you within X hours.
Yeah,
right?
That's another thing that I absolutely despise, people not answering their emails within 24 hours.
Right. So you have to have, use tools to help you. Because to your point, a lot of the people that we work with are solopreneurs. There's only just them, right? And they still need to build systems and processes to help them actually execute. And if they don't, then you already are setting up a stage, as you just said. If somebody doesn't get back to you like within 24 hours, you're already set.
I don't understand why people don't answer their emails, okay? And there's no clear communication either. So I really get discouraged right away when I'm trying to do business with somebody when they don't answer my emails, right? Or I don't care how busy you are. 24 hours is plenty of time to answer your emails. And if you can't handle that, then you cannot handle my business.
And even 24 hours is a long time. But if you establish that is, I will get back to you within the next 24 hours, no matter when that lead is, you can do it.
Yeah.
Right. If you establish that, they're not concerned that nobody got back to me. Well, I'm within the window. Now, if you say 24 hours, which I think is a long time, then you need to exceed the expectation.
Right. You give 24 hours as a window, right? But you always want to answer before. Absolutely. But I want to stay on the onboarding thing because, like I have onboarding for my clients. I have a process laid out, but a lot of people do not understand how to really do an onboarding process. And I just don't get, how dare you charge me all this money and you don't even know when's the next time you're going to talk to me.
Right. That comes to establishing a goal of what you want your onboarding experience outcome to be, right? So here's another example, right? So this is a company that we recently started working with as an advisor and as a business partner. Mm-hmm. And
yes.
And it's interesting because I'm like, oh, great. This is awesome. Did a great job selling. And then they said, oh, we're going to schedule an onboarding call with you. Great. And the onboarding call had no purpose other than, so let me introduce myself to you. Well, I don't.
Yes, that was bad.
Right. So what's the point? You have to establish a real objective for your onboarding. You
got to be intentional.
You have to.
You have to be intentional. I mean, what would be a good process that the audience can definitely implement right away in their business if they don't have one?
I think we
have a checklist, don't we?
We do. We have a whole template on onboarding experience, right? Mm-hmm. So it includes, templates of emails that you could use. Or obviously, you're going to adjust it to your business, right? But it really is a framework to establish what needs to happen within an onboarding experience.
Give me 3.
This may be a little repetitive, mm-hmm. but I think the first thing is you have to reintroduce the transaction and why it was important for that person to buy, or whatever the service, whatever it is. You have to restate your value, right? Because most people, after they buy something, they go through, yeah, I bought it. They're excited. And then if the onboarding experience doesn't, and this is another key, onboarding has to happen soon. It has to happen in a designated period of time.
After they buy.
Right? I mean, this part of the onboarding experience, right, is they have to actually, great, you're onboarding, you've signed up. Now it's systemic, right? And now you have a calendar invite go out and they coordinate a time that works with you, but that has to happen within a window of time. Otherwise, you're already losing momentum on that person, right? And already that person feels like, oh, I was just a number to get me in the door, right? But the onboarding is so much more. So I think the first thing is, that you have to really create a reestablishment of the value proposition you had, right? You need to then make sure they understand what, again, the journey of the client would be. So, if it is in one of our immersives, right, what we do is we paint the picture that here's what your process will be, right? You're gonna do this, then you're gonna do this, then we're gonna do this, then we're gonna do that, then you're gonna do, however it is, right? But it's walking them through the entire thing and then what they will get out of it, right? So, in the fitness studio that we owned, it was like, okay, let's establish what your goals were, right? When you first walked in to buy. Now let's reestablish what we are going to do,
right.
what the process looks like, what the expectations of you are, right?
And do they align with what reality is?
Right. And then what we are going to do to help you and guide you to do that. And here is what we think the outcome will be and when it'll be. So you have to establish all that timeline of the client journey. And everybody's journey is going to be slightly different. I think the third thing they need to do, and the simplest thing to do, is what I said about just doing a video text saying welcome. It means the world. And here's the thing. With technology today, you can customize it very easily. But here's the other thing. They're the only one that's getting it. So even if you pre-record it, it's okay. I like doing them personally, and I like doing them live.
I know. I'm so surprised because you don't like do videos for social media. So
that's right. But that's why but that's how important it is. I do it, right? Because I want to do it in a setting that isn't like, like I've done them in my car. I've done them in my office. I've done them just.
You shouldn't be doing videos in your car.
Not while I'm driving. Okay. Thank you, honey.
Okay.
My point being is you want it to be truly authentic. You want it to be real, and you want them to know that you took time to do it. That's why if you change the situation, the scripting can be the same except for the first name, right? Because virtually you're just giving them an intro of what they expect initially and thanking them. I think those are three things that people can do tomorrow.
So let's go back to those. One is give them what? Just reiterate those for me.
Well, you have to reinforce why they did what they purchased, right? So no matter what vehicle you're doing it, that's usually a follow-up email right away, making sure that they understand, here's what you wanted, here's what you're getting, this is how it's going to happen, and this is what we're going to do, and this is the outcome, right? All set up within a timeline. The next is that you need to make sure that they feel that whatever you're asking them to do is not a job, right? We don't want them feeling like, oh my God, I'm hiring you to help me and to guide me, no matter what business you are in.
Yeah. And you're making me you're overwhelming me right now.
Right. And the third is engage with them with authenticity and something that most people aren't doing. I sent this to a coach that was looking for us and is hiring us, and I sent the video text, and this was right when she said she was just trying to learn more about us and scheduling an appointment. She wrote back on the text and said, because I finish it with, we look forward to helping you. You've already done it. I am implementing this already, right? Because that personal touch, remember the most important thing people forget about in all businesses.
Yeah.
I don't buy from the business. I buy from you. And they need to know who you are.
Right. Right. That's so true. That is, we've lost the art of connectivity.
Yeah.
Everything is either AI or it's it's behind the scenes, and nobody really has that connection anymore. And so people are looking for that. People like to connect.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I always tell people, you can text them all day long. Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Call them.
Well,
right?
we do business with somebody that does a really nice job, and instead of calling or sending a word text, he'll send a video. And we enjoy those, because it makes me smile when I open the video. It's like, oh, okay, because I can hear him say it. He comes across as very authentic, and I connect with him. I connect with his authenticity. It's amazing. Right. And that's the only reason why I do business with him, because it's not because he answers my emails. It's because he does the video texting real well. But him and I are going to have a chat about what is the expectation on emails responses, because, that's how I roll.
Right. But I also think, even just using voice text is different.
Yeah.
It's anything that changes up how.
Well, that could be convoluted. Just
not like where you're doing it, where you're actually recording yourself first, right? And in those, you have to really prepare, right? Because you have to be concise. You have to make your points, and then you have to end, right? I've been on the receiving end, and I probably have done a few that were, shocker alert, that have been a little verbose. And I know.
No.
I know it happens.
You verbose? What? It must be a Wisconsin thing.
Not sure how I'm going to touch that one, but I'm going to leave that alone. But no, but I think anytime you change up how people are used to receiving information, it works for them, and they feel special.
Yes.
And part of the onboarding process is to make sure they know they are special, because every client should be special.
Oh, absolutely. And that's so great that you say that, because every client is special and it should be treated as such. And the expectations should be laid out up front in order to avoid confusion. Clear expectations. And I work like that. You give me clear expectations and communication, and you will not upset me if something doesn't go my way, right? Because I can get real spicy when things don't go my way. But yes, I love all of it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your perspective on this. And I hope our audience have enjoyed it just as much as I did, and learned a whole lot about onboarding and how important it is to make sure that make that customer special and have an onboarding process. You don't have an onboarding process, you don't have a retention either. So there it is. Until next time, y'all. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. If you like this episode, share it with somebody that it will be relevant to. And if you like it, just give us a 5-star review, and we will enjoy that just as much too. Until next time, talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody.